New horror story. Backrooms in my apartment building, the tenants who don't exist. I need to tell someone about this before I lose my mind completely. I've been getting emergency calls from my tenants all night, and I swear to God, something is very, very wrong with what's happening in my building. My name is Trevor, and I'm the live-in superintendent for Riverside Apartments, one of those old brick buildings on the east side with paper-thin walls and radiators that clank like chains. It's usually quiet after midnight, just me and my basement unit listening to the building settle and the occasional drunk stumbling through the lobby. The kind of job where most emergencies can wait until morning, except for the real ones. But tonight, the emergency line won't stop ringing. The first call came in at 12:47 a.m. Mrs. Chen from 4B, her voice barely a whisper, crackling through the old intercom system. Trevor, please, I'm trapped in my apartment. The door won't open, and something's wrong with the lights. They keep going out, and I can hear breathing in my walls. I grabbed my master keys immediately and took the stairs to the 4th floor. The hallway was dim, lit only by those old yellow bulbs that make everything look jaundiced. But Mrs. Chen's door was standing wide open, and her apartment was completely empty. Not just vacant, cleaned out, like no one had lived there in months. The air tasted metallic, and there was this smell, sweet but wrong, like flowers left too long in stagnant water. The second call came as I was walking back to my unit at 1:23 a.m. Mr. Rodriguez from 2A, same desperation in his voice. Trevor, thank God. Someone's been following me in the building. They're in the walls. I can hear them scratching. The sound keeps getting closer, and my door won't lock from the inside. I climbed to the 2nd floor, my footsteps echoing through the narrow stairwell. The scratching sound was real. I could hear it before I even reached his door. Long, deliberate scrapes against drywall, like fingernails dragging slowly down a chalkboard. But when I used my key to check his apartment, nothing. Just the lingering scent of that sickly sweet smell, stronger now. The calls kept coming. Every 20 to 30 minutes, different tenants, different floors. Always someone trapped, always someone afraid. And every time I investigated, I found empty apartments and that smell, and the growing certainty that something was hunting through my building. By 4 a.m., my hands were shaking as I answered the emergency line. The voice was barely human now, more of a wet whisper. Basement storage room. It's down here with me. It knows I'm hiding. Please, you have to help me before... The line went dead. I knew every inch of this building. There was no tenant in the basement storage room. But the caller ID showed the call was coming from inside the building, from an extension I didn't recognize. I pulled out the building blueprints from my desk drawer, my fingers trembling as I unfolded the yellowed papers. There it was, a sub-basement level marked on the original 1963 construction plans, but sealed off during renovations in 1987. The records showed it was abandoned due to structural irregularities and persistent water damage. I found the access door behind the old furnace. The metal was rusted, but recent scratches around the lock suggested it had been opened recently. My flashlight beam revealed wooden stairs descending into absolute darkness. The smell hit me like a physical force, that sweet, rotting stench mixed with something else. Something organic and wrong. The stairs groaned under my weight as I descended. At the bottom, my light revealed a long corridor lined with doors that looked exactly like the apartment doors upstairs. Most were slightly ajar, and from each one came the sound of breathing. Not human breathing, too slow, too deliberate, like something pretending to be asleep. I approached the first door and peered inside. It was a perfect replica of Mrs. Chen's apartment, but the walls were covered in what looked like scratch marks. Deep gouges in the drywall, as if something had been trying to claw its way out. That's when I heard my own voice coming from inside. Trevor, please, I'm trapped in my apartment. The door won't open. I stumbled backward, my flashlight beam dancing wildly across the corridor. From the next door came another voice, mine again. Trevor, thank God. Someone's been following me in the building. Every door I passed revealed the same thing. Perfect replicas of my tenants' apartments, each one playing recordings of my own voice making the calls I'd been receiving all night. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was when I reached the last door and found myself sitting at a desk, answering an old rotary phone, taking emergency calls from tenants who didn't exist. On the desk was a building directory and every name was Trevor. Every apartment number listed Trevor as the tenant. The thing wearing my face looked up from the phone and smiled at me with too many teeth. Now I'm back in my basement unit, and I don't know if I ever left. The emergency line keeps ringing, and I know it's my voice on the other end, calling for help from apartments that mirror my own building. But every time I climb those stairs to investigate, I find myself descending deeper into basements that shouldn't exist. But here's what I can't figure out. If I'm the one trapped in those replica apartments and I'm also the one sitting at this desk, then who's been living in my building all these years? If you like the story, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for daily horror stories. Thanks.